What's up, my heroes? It is I, your fellow collector, back at it again with another one. I'm really excited to talk over this statue today, so I'm not going to waste any time going over a long intro. So I'll see half you guys back right after this Thanos snap. Welcome back, my heroes. Now, if the cinematic didn't already give it away, today's star is Dante from the Devil May Cry franchise. Now, as I mentioned in the Nero review, I've been a fan of that franchise for going on 20 plus years. And throughout that franchise, they've introduced different characters and things like that. But this guy right here, he's the one that honestly started it all. Did Prime 1 do him justice? Let's jump in the review and find out. So one of the things I do want to get in front of my heroes is that unfortunately I put the box in storage already and I'm not able to get to it. The box does have really cool artwork. It's very similar to the Nero box that I showed off in that review. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it to say that the box is just as cool as the Nero one, if not better. So I know in the last video I really picked apart the pose of Nero, and I do actually still stand by that criticism. However, I am happy to say that I've got nothing bad to say about this pose here. This is how a pose should be whenever you're putting a figure on a statue. I really like the fact that he's grounded on the base with both of his legs, and you can see the carnage and wreckage that he's done in the game just laid right at his feet. I also think it's really cool that we get the same creature from the Nero statue, but again, like I'm telling you guys with Dante, he is the definition of fuck around and find out. The way he's left this creature just completely split open at the head, it's awesome, man. I have no other words to say. Like, seriously, my heroes, this video cannot do justice to just how gory and sick this head split is. And I swear, it looks like if you were to stick your finger in it, that it would actually get wet.
Oscar, would you reach over and touch his thing? That's what he said, right, guys?
You also get the same blood tree thing just like we saw in the Nero statue. Very similar broken stone and groundwork. And all of this is capped off with yet another beautiful big blue wing. Again, the symmetry that they're showing between the Dante and the Nero figure is really cool. And whenever they're actually lined up side by side, again, it just gives this really cool reflective just image. But all those details I just mentioned, again, we've seen that already in the Nero figure. So let's go ahead and start jumping to the main guy himself, Dante. And oh boy, do we have a lot to cover. I'm honestly impressed with just how much detail that they were able to pull from the game and bring into this statue. You get all the little things, such as the tears that are on Dante's inner shirt and his arm wrappings. He's got all the straps across his boot, and just like Nero, they went all out with the claps and the clamps and all the other shit that's on his jacket. I mean, seriously, they even gave my boy a button fly and a Gucci belt. Mind blowing. I also have to give shout out to Prime 1 for even capturing Dante's little smirk. In the game, Dante has never taken anything serious and he's always having a gag, and they were able to capture that personality perfect within the portrait that they brought to the statue. Now, one really cool detail in this statue is that with Dante, he is known to have a variety of different swords or guns, and his Rebellion in particular is usually the sword that you see on his back. However, if you want to pose Dante with the Rebellion in his hand, you actually get a swap out for that as well. I just think that's really cool that they give you two different options so that you can still have him dynamically posed with the different guns, sword on his back, and then if you want to put this bad boy in his hand, you can do so as well. I do think that's a perfect segue into swap outs, so let's go ahead and jump into that section. So starting with what I think are two of the coolest goddamn pistols ever made in history, we have the Ebony and Ivory. I seriously cannot gush about how damn cool these pistols are. Not only do they put them in their respective colors, which is sort of expected from the game, but you even get the names written across them, and they went as far as to give you the portraits on the handle. See, heroes, it's the small shit like that that really makes me impressed with Prime 1. You also get a swap out that has no weapons, but instead it's a hand taunt. Really, this is just to further help add and highlight that cocky attitude that Dante is known for in the game, just bringing that personality out to the statue. You also get the Coyote A, which is Dante's sawed-off shotgun. Honestly, while it is super cool looking, there's nothing particularly impressive with it. Just in my personal opinion, I don't think it's as cool as Ebony and Ivory, but it gets the job done, I guess, so what the f do I know about personality? Now, as you guys have probably seen floating on his back here, you also get the Rebellion sword that Dante has from the game with the figure. This thing is actually really cool. It's really got some heft to it, and honestly, I'm not sure what it's made out of, but it really does feel like metal. And I mean, obviously with the paintwork, it looks metal, it's rad, it's super cool and detailed. It's just a shame what happens to it in the game.
But my hero collects. What if I want Rebellion posed on Dante's shoulder and not on his back?
I hear you guys' complaints, and Prime 1 heard it as well, and you actually get two of the Rebellion swords for whatever type of pose you want. The cool thing with this figure, guys, is you can be as silly as you want, so if you want to double Rebellion it up, as you can see, nothing's stopping you. Now this is how you make a deluxe kit, my heroes. The DX version comes with 3 items that I'm gonna go through in terms of badass to smoking sexy style. Let's get started. First up is the Kalina Ann. Short version, it's a big ass rocket launcher that Dante gets in the game. Now while the Kalina Ann isn't my personal preference of posing Dante, that's not to say that Prime 1 spared any expense when it came to actually packing in a lot of the detail from the game right into this swap out. Prime 1 even included the metal spear tip that's from the game that has this really cool weathering effect to just show you that it's been used, this thing is not on the wall for display. Dante's gonna f some shit up. Truly, the Kalina Ann is really cool. The swap out is awesome, and I do like that I have the option to, to switch it out and kind of freshen up the style every so often. But I'm biased, and I'm gonna say I think there's just better poses that I just personally, I stick with. Moving over to the next swap out, we have the Sparda sword, which I can't even get into the frame, guys. I've tried, and either my head will be at the bottom for the sword, or you're gonna get what you got here. It's an understatement to say that this thing is massive. And I'm sure that you guys are going to get tired of me repeating myself, but a lot of that detail that's in the game got pulled right into this swap out. There's a lot of detail that's packed in this swap out. You get the hilt of the force edge, which is technically where the Sparda sword comes from, embedded in all that muscle and bone of the blade. You get these cool little jewels on either side of the sword, that's been painted to really give a little bit of a pop whenever light hits it. Posing Dante with the Sparda sword is legit one of the coolest damn things ever, and it would honestly be my #1 pose if it wasn't for the next sword that we're about to jump into. The last sword, ladies and gentlemen, is the Devil Sword Dante. This sword is so goddamn big and so goddamn cool that I honestly thought about doing a cinematic just for the sword itself. Seriously, this is probably one of the most ridiculous and coolest damn swords I've seen in a game in quite some time. The hilt that Prime 1 built is perfectly recreated from the game with those crazy ass fangs or claws that are coming out of it. I love how the blade part that you guys can't even see in this frame really gives that sharpened still look to the sword. Even the little red jewel that's at the very end of the hilt has been perfectly recreated, perfectly painted, and just brought to life in this swap out. Seriously, my heroes, this thing is legit cool as hell. Honestly, I think the only thing they could have done different is if they by chance gave another swap out that showed the blade technically opening up, which it does in the game, and has this really cool glow, kind of lava center to it. And that's a nitpick, has nothing to do obviously with what they provided, and I'm sure that would have cost even more for the statue. But it just goes to show how much I love this goddamn sword. It's seriously cool, so much that I'm rambling and I'm gonna keep this in the video. Now, unlike the Sparda sword, which is so large that you actually have to remove the Rebellion off the back, as you can see with the Devil Sword Dante, if you want Rebellion on the back, you can put it. It makes no sense, but I love the fact that you have the option, and this is actually the pose that I leave Dante in my Maji case. The last Deluxe Edition item to touch up on is this red orb figure right here. Honestly, this thing is just like the green orb that came with the Nero figure in that it is harmless. I personally wouldn't go out of my way to hunt for it if I didn't have it, but it is cool to have, and I think it just kind of adds that just extra element of what's in the game being brought to the figure. I will say that whenever you're pairing Dante and Nero together and you have the two orbs in front of them, it just continues to give them that consistent mirrored look where it really does show that these figures were meant to be displayed side by side together. Overall, heroes, this is probably honestly one of the coolest collectibles I have ever owned in my life. And that's not to knock the Nero version whatsoever. Again, I'm just partial to the Dante character. I love all the different swap outs that you can bring to it to really just show different levels of badassery. And even at its worst swap out, it's still cool. So using my patent pending and carefully thought out rating system, I'm gonna give the Prime 1 Dante statue a 100s smoking sexy styles. Well, my heroes, I really do hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm always looking to engage with you guys, so if there was something you agreed with or disagreed with, comment below and let me know. I'm also working on changing the look and feel of these videos, so just bear with me while it continuously evolves. As you can see here, this video, I'm putting an emphasis on what's in the Hero Cave and showing you guys a little bit more of my collection that I haven't done videos on. That being said, I do have a new video that I'm working on and I'm really excited to show you guys. It seems I always jinx myself every time I say that you'll have a new video soon and then it takes me months to get it, so not even gonna bother with that. I'm just gonna say that you guys will get it when you do and I hope that you enjoy it when it comes out. That being said, I'll talk to you guys soon. Until then, take care, heroes. Now, just like the green orb that came with the Nero, oh,